Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we're looking at King in Black Spider-Man issue 1. This is a 2021 one-shot from Marvel Comics, written by Jed MacKay, pencils by Michele Bandini, inks by Michele Bandini and Elisabetta D'Amico, colors by Erik Arciniega. There's a backup story by Jed MacKay with art by Alberto Alburquerque, colors by Rachelle Rosenberg. Letters for both stories was VC's Joe Caramagna. Cover art by Carlos Gomez Jesus Aburtov, assistant editor Danny Kazem, editor Devin Lewis, Nick Lowe, executive editor. I like the cover, it's really good. Doesn't really apply here, but it is a good cover that sort of relates. So Spider-Man's having a little panic attack and blaming himself for everything, but we quickly get past that, thankfully, because navel gazing is boring. And Spider-Man goes to save some old lady that he thinks is being abducted by one of the dragons, but it turns out to be Reptile, who's a relatively new hero that they're trying to make into a thing. And they decided to have a little team up to get this old lady, Mrs. Volkov, to safety. Peter and the kid both agree that they're not really going to be able to do much about the big colossal threat, but they might be able to save this one old lady and a few other civilians. So they're trying to get her to Staten Island, and they end up on a ferry that is being attacked by a giant dragon thing, and a Reptile turns into a big fish monster because he can turn into dinosaurs, and the people on the ferry hook up a electro lance to try and stop the thing. The backup story is just Reptile being promoted a little bit, talking about himself. There's no reference points as to where some of these story points happened, so I assume they're in like Avengers Academy or something like that. But obviously this is a prelude to the Reptile book series that came out in 2021, and that's really obvious with the backup story. It's pretty worthless, and the art's garbage. Primary story, the art's okay. It definitely has a very manga influence, especially when you see Mrs. Volkov. She looks like a stereotype old lady from Japan, and she kind of talks like a stereotype as well. Even though her name sounds strangely Russian, she seems to talk like an anime old lady. Overall, the main story was pretty good. I thought it was pretty fun. It gets a little navel gazing at the beginning, but thankfully they get past that and get into the primary adventure aspects. So I thought it was good, but it's not $5 good. Not even close. Pull this out of a dollar bin, $2 at the most. Beyond that, it's not worth anywhere near the cover price, but at least this one was a lot better than the Captain America one shot. This has a complete story and it's pretty fun, even though it's obviously to promote Reptile's series that was coming up at the time. I don't find that character all that interesting. His power base is kind of cool, but he seems a little annoying and very much one of the inserts that you see too much of in modern comics. So I'm not really interested in Reptile, but I did find this issue to be quite fun as far as like a dollar bin book would go. So beyond paying a couple bucks for it, you could skip it. It's not really essential to the King in Black storyline at all, but it is a fun sidetrack that takes place between issues 4 and 5 of King in Black. So like I said, if you find it cheap, then I'd recommend it. Beyond that, you could just sort of ignore it. That'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. If you'd like to help the channel out in other ways, links are in the description to various support methods, or you can share the video on your social media too. And as always, we hope to see you on the next one.